10 seconds.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Comic Book Spectrum.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
Good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum number 19 for July 1st. 2021, and good hello to everyone in Canada celebrating Independence Day up there, and we hope you're getting ready for a celebration here down in the lower 48 and even in the other two off the way. Anyway, folks, hope you're having a great Thursday for the day, and I hope you're looking forward to tonight, because we're going to have some reviews, we're going to talk comics, we're going to have all kinds of folderol going on. But before we do, we want to say thank you to some people, such as our sponsor for tonight's episode, and that is from Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out at plasmafiregraphics.com. Check out their work, such as book covers. They did this, my latest book here, Snow Ambition, fourth in the Snow Shorts series created by Bobby Nash. This is my latest book. It's a quick read crime thriller, and it's great, if you ask me, and you should. Anyway, please check out this book. It's available now for 99 cents on Amazon, but also check out plasmafiregraphics.com when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your buyers, and that's what helps make them buyers, is great art. That's what they can do for you, Plasma Fire Graphics. Also, we want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We have 7 days a week of information, and mostly we have a lot of fun. And later on tonight, Amy Hale is taking a couple weeks off to get ready for the second season of Creative as Hale. But at 9 p.m., we've got the great Joe Dog McKeel, who will be joining the network with Stupid O'Clock, the smartest conversation show on the air. Trust me, or double your money back. Anyway, you will dig it. It's a great show. And stay tuned also afterwards for Last Man Standing with Dan Hollifield, as he continues the conversation into the wee small hours. Then tomorrow, Friday, we start off the evening with you want to learn how to make a mint mojito? Well, then tune in to Drinking with the Davies at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles, and then Nick Tockert's the Historical Fencing Guild. Also, please like and subscribe to all of the stuff you see here, all of our channels, also our own. Please, if you enjoy any part of this, please hit the like button on Facebook, also a thumbs up on YouTube, and please subscribe on YouTube so you can get all kinds of good stuff from us in the immediate future. And also want to thank our Patreons. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly support your favorite creators, and our address is www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And come check out, see what we offer you for your help to us. And now we're gonna bring in a bunch of cool people here, namely our panel. Here they are, and there we go. We're going to turn on their microphones, and for once, I am not drinking from the Rising Tide cup. Oh, yeah, Zombie from the World of Oz. Eric wins. I'm drinking ice water because my fan burned out. So we're gonna.
Yeah, welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, where you're not sure which Brian's gonna die first.
That's right. It's a drinking game now.
Hopefully, it'll be on air though.
This is my Father's Day card, and this is my Father's Day shirt. So, shout out to Ginny.
That is a thing of beauty, my friend. That is great. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Okay, good. Good to hear, Eric.
Clyde's doing great because Clyde's
making out here. Holy cats. Yeah, we'll probably get a copyright strike on that music, but what the heck? It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. But anyway, folks, let us introduce this wonderful panel we've got here, and we will start with Mr. Clyde Hall showing off that snazzy, jazzy shirt of his.
Hi, I am Clyde Hall, and proud father and husband, also an independent author, and a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. Stormgate Press, the award-winning company, brought out Pulp Reality 1 with my creation, B-Man. Thank you. And now, on sale, Pulp Reality 2, both on sale at Amazon.com or by going to www.stormgatepress.com. Woohoo! Woo! Yay! And the other part of my Father's Day present, the owner of a very nice, if I ever get to go out to shows, I have something to hold my business cards now. So thank you to my dear ones, and thanks for having me with you tonight. Looking forward to having much jocularity. Let's go.
Oh.
I don't know if I packed that in the suitcase. I'm going to have to run downstairs and see if we've got any of that stuff.
What kind of show is this now, Clyde?
I'm afraid we're going to find out. Anyway, thank you, Clyde. Next in line is Mr. Excitement, Eric S. Hawkins himself.
Hey, Clyde, I'll tell you, even if you have something to hold your business cards, they're going to still ask you, do you have business cards?
That's what Ginny said. She says that she's got her sitting out there plainly displayed, and people go, "Do you have a business card?"
Yeah, okay. Every time.
I'll just tape one to my nose.
There you go.
Yeah,
they'll still ask, Clyde. Trust me, they'll still ask.
Well, I am Eric S. Hawkins. I'm a comic book writer and drawer and letterer and colorist, and I'm the creator of the Zombiful World of Oz.
Yay!
Which is still available on Indiegogo right now until maybe 2 more weeks. So if you missed out, go out there and get it now because the books will arrive in 2 weeks. Everything will arrive in 2 weeks that hasn't come in yet. So my metal cards will be here Sunday. The ash cans I ordered, I got them from a different company than I usually get the regular comic books from. They're going to be a week late because of a paper shortage. I don't know if viruses have caused paper shortages or they print on toilet paper. I don't know. But that's me.
Okay, cool. Well, and who knows where the shortage could have come from? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, here's Brian Rodman, the wonderful Brian Rodman, bringing class and dignity to the proceedings. 2 very foreign concepts. Brian, how you doing?
I fooled you, sir. I am Brian Rodman, author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel, as well as The Nebulizer, which just wrapped up on Kickstarter. I'm not sure if that's applause or a monster trying to eat my soul, but are the lambs still screaming? Are the lambs still screaming, Clarice? I'm also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast and 1/4 of Comic Book Spectrum. I am happy to be here and ready to talk some comics with you fine gentlemen.
Do you have a new poster behind you?
I have 2 new posters behind me. Oop, there we go. So here is the original Ninja Turtles movie poster and the Ghostbusters poster. Because those 2 are 2 of my childhood favorites.
I had never noticed the Godfather one.
Oh yeah, it's because
you're usually right in front of me. I was like,
yeah, and then I have the little ninja. Now those 2 are both wood.
Oh,
they're wooden posters, so they're fancy. Yes. So my nerddom extends.
If your nerdom extends for more than 4 hours, consult a physician.
Go to your nearest comic book store.
That's right, yeah. You're going to die someplace, be happy about it. But anyway, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Eric and Clyde. I'm Brian K. Morris, publisher, writer, on YouTube, this week far more than I ever thought I'd be, and always glad to be here with the various bits of Folderol. Yeah, and you talk about posters. A friend of mine, William Quinton, who does 47 Furious Tales, has sent me a poster. The problem is I don't have room on my wall yet to just show it off in all its glory.
Nice.
This is
Pretty.
this is some swank stuff here, but definitely check it out. This is drawn by Alexia Veldhusen, an amazing artist. So please pick up 47 Furious Tales. Do a Google search for that. I think it's still available on an Indiegogo store, but please check this book out. It is a retelling of the 47 Ronin tale. But anyway, glad to be here, guys. Glad you're here. And of course, we've got comments. Let's see. And Donna Carlene wonders who the other one waiting is. And yeah, it's probably Carl Witzman. And he's yearning. Yes, yearning for Grant to be here. And greetings, programs. Brian, glad to have you here. Ted Davies Artistry. Good evening, superheroes. You're not supposed to tell, damn it. But anyway, and Clyde is, like I said, he's the host of Drinking with the Davies tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. He also
Mojitos!
Woohoo! Mojitos. Oh, yes. He's mowing the lawn for this one. But anyway, no, and then Tuesdays he's got TED Talks, and Thursdays he's got TED Talks timepieces. Once a month he teams up with Carl Witzman to talk about cigars. It's a really good show. And I'm not a smoker, but I enjoy it.
It's so good, I can watch it and not have an asthma attack. There you go, guys.
There is your tagline, guys. I'd be writing that down if I were you, and paying this man immense amounts of money for the use of it.
What he said, do that.
Yeah, see? Brian's got a good idea. This one for once. But anyway, and starting July 14th, he's going to be starting a brand new show with Glenn B. Fleming. The Truth Mongers, and it's going to be about conspiracy theories and all kinds of crackpot things. And I'm looking forward to it. That ought to be a lot of fun because I'm into crackpot things. And let's see, here we go. And cigars and comics and the Fab Four Woohoo from Ted Davies. And if he smokes one indoors, it's going to become, as Carl Witzman said, drinking with the Davy. There will be a fine red mist where Christine's co-host once stood. And anyway, from the desk of Small Press Publishers, good to see you, Joe. This blinking set on the fritz again, or are they having technical difficulties? No, we were as usual having fun and cutting up. And barely looking at the clock. You're lucky we're here at all. And anyway, hello to you, Carl Witzman. And here we come to see Eric Hawkins. He's keeping an eye on you guys. And yes, hi all in color, just like in the 60s. And now with sound effects, we do it all. And I'm glad that we don't kill a Brian through our cigars.
I'm glad too. Thank you.
Yeah, because we have plans. Anyway, I don't know.
Kill Brian. Wait, no. I mean, never mind. Nothing.
Yeah. At least I think they were talking about you.
I hope so.
We can't be sure with this crowd.
You know what? Just bring the sweet release. That's what I have to say. Let's just do it. Get it over with.
Yeah, Angel of Death. Where is thy loving embrace? Yeah, I feel you. So anyway, the hallmark of this show are the reviews, and we've got them this week. Boy, howdy! I'm excited. I've got a couple things to talk about, and I know you guys do too. Who would like to go first? That's what I thought. Thank you, guys.
I'll go first.
Okay, Brian Rodman will lead off the show, sir. What have you got for our lovely audience tonight?
Yeah, so I'm going to do a rare thing that I don't think I've done it one other time, but I'm going to review an issue number 2. And 2 weeks in a row, for that matter.
I thought you were going to review a DC book.
No, we have enough of that here already. Although next month, or actually no, later this month, I will be reviewing a DC book. Batman '89 is my most anticipated comic of my life. So. All right. So this week is issue number 2 of the Bequest. Now, the final issue of at least this run of the miniseries came out last week. So it's the series. It's 4 issues It's a mini series. It's all out from Aftershock Comics in your comic book store. You can head there now and pick all of them up. But in this issue by Aftershock, we pick up with our merry band that we left last week, and the official Aftershock summary says, as the sword and sorcery slinging war party tries to make themselves at home in modern Chicago, the mad monk Epoch Crave unleashes his beasts. Now our heroes must venture into a dank dungeon filled with unknowable horrors known as Lower Whacker Drive. Yeah,
Whacker?
I guess it's either Whacker or Waker, but I'm choosing Whacker because of the memes.
It's
so,
Whacker. It's
is it Whacker? Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
cool. So anyway, this issue once again is written by Tim Seeley, artist Freddie Williams, colorist is Jeremy Caldwell, letterer is Marshall Dillon, and
Mr.
Yes.
Dillon, Mr. Dillon.
And they did another fantastic job with this issue. We picked essentially up a couple weeks maybe after issue 1 left just to refresh this band of thieves from the fantasy realm Tangia. They got in trouble and were brought to Earth, where a dragon who's in human form named Relic is trying to essentially just figure out who is trading between the realms, trading guns for magic and enchanted items. So you've got like Earth realm gangsters that have wands and different talismans and things like that from Tangia, and now characters from Tangia have an arsenal. So it's really disrupting the order of things. And so Relic is the dragon's name. He is trying to stop this from happening. So this band, as their punishment, they now have to help him. So they have been in the Earth realm for a couple weeks, and they're having some struggles. But before we meet back up with them, we're in Tangia. And again, just look at that setting.
Nice.
Large tower.
Heard?
And we meet this caretaker, and a lot of howls and animal noises begin to wake him up. And he says, "All right, shut up, I'm on my way." And he goes down, and you look down in this essentially dark dungeon, and you see just cages full of wild beasts that are waiting to be fed. And again, just look at that full page spread. Just so pretty. And unfortunately, the caretaker gets shot to death by some hooligans, and we're not really sure what's going on there just yet. We pick back up with our heroes. We've got one that's being just a magician outside of a circus, kind of just panhandling, and at the end of each one of their introductions in issue 2, they get their beeper goes off, which is a throwback, and they're being summoned back to their home, where Relic is waiting. Another one, she's the fairy of the group. She's been in a strip club and gets kicked out, and beats the crap out of the bouncer, and then
That didn't look like a fairy.
well, she's not in fairy form, and so
How very nefarious of her.
Oh wait, hold on. So we meet the next one. She's in a bar and gets beeped away, and then everyone comes back to headquarters where they meet Relic, and Relic's saying there's been a disturbance in this tunnel, and we have to go check it out. And the one person that still hasn't answered the call, he's missing, is Warlock, who is their leader. And he just strolls in super drunk and super naked, just dancing the night away.
Look at the size of that sword.
Look at that sword. There's a
I'm
lot
sure
of
he hears that a lot.
there's a lot of sword penis jokes in this page, in these next couple pages, and it's really funny. It's well done. And then him, and if you remember from issue 1, another dragon in Tangia killed their dwarf friend in their mission that got them in trouble. And so when he goes and now he's under the charge of a dragon, even in human form, Warlock absolutely hates dragons. And so him and Relic get into it. And to distract him, one of his teammates just plants a big old wet one on him. And the catch is she has a jealous talisman that when she shows physical affection for anyone else, it lashes out at that person. So she kisses him to harm him, which is just hilarious and really creative. And so that snaps him out of his drunken stupor. And so they all venture off to this tunnel where they realize that the beasts from the very beginning of the issue are now unleashed on Earth.
Ooh.
And are terrorizing this tunnel. I mean, look at that. Look at that
nice.
artwork.
Mhm.
That's just so good, man.
Love
Freddie
the coloring
does.
too.
Yeah.
how it
Oh,
pops in it.
yeah. Absolutely. It complements each other so well. And then they fight that horrible monster for a little while. Then they run in to Epic Crave and his merry band of white supremacist dragon's blood hooligans. Because last issue he went and found a white supremacist group because they were most likely to have all the guns that he wanted and have all the access. And so he recruits them and gives them all dragon's blood. So now they all have powers.
And they're all Charlie Sheen.
Pretty much, they're all hashtag winning, and they all have
Winning!
So we go back and forth between part of the group fighting one of the giant monsters, and the other two are witnessing the white supremacists essentially annihilate a group of orcs that are supposed to be on their same side, but they're white supremacists and they're racists, and they say that they're essentially like mud beasts that don't deserve to live. So there's a little bit of a skirmish between the leader and the white supremacist, essentially second in command now. So the only part I was a little confused about is, they reveal that, they went to this ancient dungeon in Tangia and essentially rounded all the beasts up and have unleashed them, or at least some of them, at least. And then they agree to work together, which I already thought they were working together, which that part was a little confusing to me. But I'll probably will have to just read it all again just for some clarity, because you've just kind of been introduced to this guy. And he's, like I said, he's kind of the leader of the white supremacists, but I thought they were already joining forces, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. But other than that, that's my only critique of the whole issue. The rest of the issue, the story flows really well. It is a little short, unfortunately. It clocks out, I believe, under 24 pages. So, or like maybe, it just seemed really short. Not a whole lot seems to have happened in that issue. But again, really great character development. It brings the story to another level. It's not as epic as the first issue, which is understandable. And it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun getting to know the personalities of the characters, getting to know their relationship a little bit. And I want more. So it's doing the job. I would say overall, this issue, I would give probably a 7.5 out of 10. It's a solid issue too. Like I said, the story was just a little less than what I was expecting for an issue 2, especially the follow-up to what issue 1 was. But other than that, man, solid issue. I can't tell you guys enough. Go get this book. If you love Dungeons and Dragons stuff, if you love just good, funny high fantasy story that also mixes with urban fantasy. It's really cool. It's a cool series with great art, great coloring, great lettering, and just ultimately wonderful storytelling. So go get it. The whole series is out now. I will probably continue reviewing it because I'm going to go pick up issues 3 and 4 this weekend. So
Excellent. Most
Nice.
excellent. Sounds
Hey,
good.
Brian,
Hmm?
have you read Die?
I haven't.
It has a very British feel to it, but it is about people playing a game that some of what you talk about reminds me. If you like that, I'm thinking that you would like Die. It's both away from the game and part of the game. So you have the Knights of the Dinner Table kind of background, but it's not humorous. It's a really rip-roaring adventure, but it's very much based on the adventures of these people when they were younger, sitting around a table role playing.
Oh, cool.
And it has one of the best twists of modern comics that I have seen. About 4 issues in, I'm like,
Oh, okay. I like that. That's
it was
fun.
all right there from the beginning, and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then you go
That's
back and you
cool.
read those again.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. Is it so? How old is it?
If I'm thinking right, it started like in the end of 2019, I think, or fall of 2019, and came out in, I believe, 6 issues, and then another 6 issues. And
Okay.
I have not kept up with it, but the first series, was really good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool indeed. Well, we've got some comments here. And Carl Whitson says, I don't like to go down Whacker Drive even now. I hear not even Batman will go down Whacker Drive. Anyway, from Nestle Small Press Publisher, Brian Rodman, don't get my ire up. Hint. Joe.
Batman won't go down at all.
That's right. That's right. He come down on you. But anyway, that sounds horrible. Anyway, but no,
I didn't like that either. That made me feel like I needed an adult. I wasn't sure what was happening.
If your ire is up for more than 4 hours, you should consult a physician. Right?
Fortunately, we're only on for about an hour and a half. No, Joe D. McPhee says, "Don't get my ire up." He lives in Chicago. It is.
Oh, tell me how to say it. Whacker.
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 Whacker. Anyway,
He's
this is
so
brought
mad
to you
at
by
all
the
of us
group
now.
who feel that you should know major streets in Chicago Fund.
Is that where all the
I
strip
appreciate
clubs
it.
are?
Whacker Street. Oh,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to take that parentheses around the H. Is it Whacker?
I think it's Whacker.
Whacker.
It is
just
Whacker.
Yeah.
I'm
going to pronounce it Whacker. Just
Do it.
to
Like
get under.
whip.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get that Hanukkah thing going, Whacker, sort of thing.
Oh,
I'm,
a lot of
I'm sure
phlegm.
Joe would love that.
I'm sure he would. Yeah, he's cursing my name right now. That's fine.
Probably. Yeah, and Clyde and I, we know how to, we're downstate people. Well, I'm former downstate. And I used to listen to WLS all the time, or WCFL, the voice of labor.
Well,
anyway,
just forgive me. I'm from Kentucky. We don't know those streets down here.
Heck, they don't even pronounce the I in Ville.
No, we're at Louisville.
Louisville.
We're from Louisville.
Louisville.
We don't even know how to say our own name. It's bad.
There's a fine line between the middle of the United States where it goes from Ville to Vol.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
true.
And I don't know. I flirt between both. Sometimes I say it one way and the other one, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm from the part of Illinois that doesn't know Cairo from Cairo, and we don't know El Dorado from El Dorado.
El Dorado.
Or Vienna from Vienna.
That's right.
Or Des Moines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have New Athens instead of New Athens here.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh
And we
yeah.
spell vermilion with only one L.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we have Versailles instead of Versailles,
Well, there you go. You're just trying to catch up with Illinois.
apparently.
So yeah. And it's Chicago, by the way.
Chicago? Is it really?
Chicago.
Is that a thing?
I'm not joking. It's Chicago.
I don't
Really?
believe
I've
you.
never heard that one.
So
I've
you
never
live
heard that
north
before.
like we do. You're down near St. Louis, Eric.
Well,
Well,
Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah.
Missouri.
See,
There it is.
welcome to the learning place. Anyway, Brock G, glad
learning
to see
book
you.
spectrum.
That's right. Now, welcome. Now with extra map reading and bad pronunciation, and Brian Rodman with the meme of the week with the bad joke reaction. And Carl Wensman says, "I nearly got whacked down there. Fortunately, only my window got broke, and well, thank goodness you got out of there intact, except for your window." And hey, guys, Grant Lankard, good to see you. Teresa Dunn, great interview tonight. Mwah. Everyone, check that out. And Whacker Drive. I'd buy that for $1. And I hope he's talking about you, from Desmond Small Press Publisher, Brian Stewie Rodman. There we go. And Verizon almost killed Teresa Dunn's show today, but Teresa cannot be stopped. Teresa is a titan. She is a juggernaut of broadcasting. And Ted Davies, for some peculiar reason, says Detroit. So anyway,
Hey, what's that ginger ale stuff they sell up there in Michigan, Brian? What's that called?
I don't remember. Oh yeah, Canada Dry.
No. No, that aged vanilla one in the oak barrels.
Werner's.
Verners.
Never
We'll
heard
train
of
you
it,
yet.
though. All right.
Pepperidge Farm remembers, but I forget. And Carl Winston says Teresa and our guests just kept plugging along, and that's what we do here. And Vernors. Thank you, Ted, for reaffirming my pronunciation. Anyway, who would like to go next? Okay, here we go with Eric Hawkins, and see, we had.
That's not funny. Nate Neverstitch used to call me that all the time in gym class in high school. He was our teacher. He was my coach.
But
My
Eric
coach.
doesn't hold a grudge.
You varmint, get over here. And this man, now this man was a gym teacher when my uncle was in the same school in the 60s, and I graduated in 89. He looked like Alf. He looked like a human
now.
Alf. Yeah. No, he's alive. He's out there somewhere.
Is he still teaching?
He kept a Playboy in his back of his pants.
I think that's the wrong side.
Oh,
but
no.
Anyway, while Eric's ignoring us, I can see where he's trying to rise above here. And one more comment from the Desmond Small Press Publisher. It's a thing, just like I'm from Chicago, then you as whereabout, and you get Arlington Heights. That's not Chicago or even Chicago. That's true. And remember, folks, when you're in Illinois, everything north of Cairo is a suburb. So anyway, let's go to Eric Hawkins. Why? Oh my gosh!
Yep.
Is that a second issue of a comic I see?
Is that a skeletal horse?
3 months late, I guess.
Oh my gosh! It just
Midnight
came out.
Western Theater, and there's the horse.
Skeletal horses.
Look at
Yay!
him. He's returned.
And apparently,
aroused.
Apparently, they're all trying to hunt down all these people that are the children of Samuel, and that's Samuel right there.
The dog?
Anyway. Yeah.
Now, is that dog drooling or?
I don't know what he's doing, but I'm not reviewing this. I just thought I picked it up.
Damn it!
Probably the worst score I ever gave a comic book, but I went ahead and picked up issue 2 just to see if it got better. Because I knew it was the guy's first writing job or second writing job. It didn't look much better.
Pity.
Let's see how high this one could fly.
So I did pick up 2 Moods as well, but I will not be reviewing that because I love that too much, and I've shared enough of it with you. So I picked up from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Parasomnia by Colin Bunn, Andrea Muti, and I forget the guy's first name, Bolin, but he's the letterer. Andrea is the artist, and the art's really, really nice in this one. I mean, she did the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a different style. It's not going to be a regular comic book style. It's more of a early 80s comic book, maybe, and with a little bit of a watercolory, paintery look to it.
Ooh, that's different. It reminds me of the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover coloring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very much
So there's a lot of nice art in it. But Parasomnia is a catch-all term for unusual behaviors that people experience prior to falling asleep, while asleep, or during the arousal period between sleep and wakefulness.
Oh, my.
See, I almost didn't put that in here because I knew someone was going to say,
We're children.
No, they won't. I will.
Oh, I will.
These behaviors vary considerably in terms of characteristics, severity, and frequency. So what you have is a story. It's basically it's a fantasy story. Actually, it's this guy whose son is missing. He's kind of right now he's a bum, but I think it's because he's been looking for his son for so long. And this is the older gentleman you see right there. And he's getting attacked under a bridge by some hoodlums that tell them that's their place to hang out, not his. So they hit him in the head, knock him back out. Then as soon as he gets knocked out, he goes into the other place, the underworld, where in his in his dreams there's an entire different fantasy landscape where he is a man. I'm going to assume it's him. He's the man with no name hunting down a missing boy, which the guy actually has a missing son. And there's another lady in there that is, I'm not sure if it's his wife, but she is missing her boy as well. But she doesn't go into the underworld yet, or the other world, or whatever they're calling it. But this guy does, and there's really no names associated with these characters yet too much. The first issue's is good size, but there could have been more to it. So he goes into the underworld, and they show him he's looking for people. And the first three characters he runs into, they kind of look like the three hoodlums that try to beat him up under the bridge. So he dispatches them very quickly. Because he's got a musket, a sword, and stuff. Two other guys come up. One's like a very big ogre-looking guy. He takes care of them pretty quickly too. And then he travels to a town, which kind of reminded me of the tavern from Lord of the Rings, the first Lord of the Rings movie. Prancing Pony, I believe.
Yep.
So he's going in there, and he's following a lead. He thinks the missing boy he's looking for is in this tavern, but the waitress there tells him there's nobody here. By that, there's not anything you're looking for here. You should leave. And she tries to warn him, but he stays anyway. He wanders through the town, goes into this barn, thinks he finds the boy, but it's a mannequin sitting in a chair. That's when he gets ambushed and captured for the faceless queen, which the mannequin gets up and beats him up anyway, too, which is strange.
I'll teach him.
But in between all that, it jumps back to the regular world where you've got this young lady is supposedly missing her son as well. It doesn't tell you in the book. It was the other Dark Horse book I got. There was more description in the description on their website than what's in the book. If Mr. Bunn would put everything in the book that he puts in describing these things, they'd be a lot better. But I will still pick up the second issue to see what goes on, because maybe you're supposed to read the description, then read the book, so you know everything that's going on. Because at the end, I wasn't even sure what was going on here. You got this little trailer park and all these people welcoming this lady. What was her name? Jenny? Finny. And they'll go, blessings, blessings, blessings. Then she goes in, and apparently this is where the missing son is. He is in one of these trailers with this cult. You don't know it's a cult unless you read the description on their website. But it's this cult that's trying to break into this other world, which you find out on the website.
So skip the comic shop and just go to the website.
Well, if I would say get them both. It's like the director's commentary on a DVD. So read the book as you read the website. I enjoyed the art, and what I read. I enjoyed, but when I read the description before the show started, I was like, there's more stuff here again. And I'm pretty sure it's the same writer. But, I mean, otherwise, it's a decent book. but you might not like it if you want all the story up front. Because I didn't know. I was like, where's this cult he's talking? Oh, that was at the end with that trailer park. Okay, I get it. And you're not really sure because even the description on the website says there's a couple looking for their missing son, but also says a man looking for his missing son. And I'm not sure if it's the old hobo and this other lady, it's the same missing son. It almost makes it sound like there's two missing kids, but you don't get that from reading the book. Oh, geez. Now I'm going to have to give it a bad score.
Are you going to
Sounds
throw
like
it?
it's written as if giving data about the story is giving information to the enemy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, he knows what's going on in his head, and he's not as good as putting it down on paper because more of it's up here than what's coming out in the story, probably for the script. Another thing that would have helped it out, there is no captions when you change scenes or anything in this book at all. That would have helped out quite a bit, I think. So you know kind of what's going on. Like I didn't even notice this was a trailer park at first. Until I went back and started reading it. Oh, there's a little mannequin that beat up the guy.
I never trust mannequins just for that reason.
Oh, and mannequins are creepy. So overall, I'm going to go with this. The Dark Horse books I've picked up, which I believe it's only been 2. Both of them, I think, by Colin Bunn here. Both of them, there's more story on the website than what's in the book. There's more detail what's going on. I'm going to give it like a 5 because I will pick it up because now that I know what's going on, maybe I can pick up a little more when I'm reading the second issue. I won't add it to my pull list, but I will pick up the second issue. So yeah, 5. 5 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
I'm done. Bad thing.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed what I read until I read the freaking description.
So, moral of the story, kids, don't read the descriptions.
That's right. Save for later. Spoiler alert.
Just read the comics and see if you can figure it out. And then if you can't, after like the 4th issue, read that
Cult? What cult? Where'd that come from?
I'm in a cult? Oh, no. What?
Damn, I hate when that happens. Carl Witzman says, Arlington is a different world over there. And Cindy Captain, good evening to
Jubilee!
you. And CKOEPP.com. Please check out her news site and check out her newsletter. She is amazing. And now we're getting a compliment here from the Decimal Small Press publisher. Standing ovation for Eric Hawkins.
It must have been this one.
Mark this day on the calendar. He actually reviewed a book that made me like, this is cool. I will look for it. Congrats and encore. Well done.
I think it could be a good book. It just maybe put a little more in it. Colin, if you're listening.
And no doubt he is. Where else would he be?
Clearly,
and for the National Small Press publisher, it seems like a trippy ride that makes you read it to figure it out. Kind of up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, cool. So don't forget to have the website nearby, just in case. And Ted Davies Artistry trailers for sale or cult. Anyway, little Roger Miller there. And Brian Hawkins says, I enjoyed Parasomnia. I'm at least curious to see what happens next. But yeah, the end was a bit confusing. Yes, since I didn't read the website too. So always read the website, kids. Anyway, so Clyde, you want to go next or you want to go last?
I'll go last. I've been going earlier, so go ahead, Brian.
Okay, I don't mind if I do. Thank you very much, Clyde.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go, folks. I'm actually going to review a couple of books. We'll give some real quick reviews here. Tom King is a name that comes up quite often. He has been the regular writer on Batman for a couple of years, and he's done some. He's currently doing the Rorschach maxi series, and he's done some limited series featuring the Vision. That was really quite good. He also did a Mr. Miracle max 12-issue series a couple of years ago that was quite daring in its storytelling. And I will say, I say this without hesitation. If you picked up the Walmart comics of Superman from the last couple of years, Tom King's stories have been brought together in a volume called Up, Up, and Away. And there is a story in here that may be one of the best Superman stories ever. in this book, and definitely the best story. This is the whole thing's probably the best story in the 2100 or in the 2002 2020s or whatever century we're in. It is. Time means nothing to a comic.
Well,
fan.
since
It's
you're old
all
enough to remember the actual 20s, then we got
Yes,
the new
I am.
20s.
Yes, the 1820s. That's when we didn't have an internet back then. And we had no way to play Minesweeper.
What was
That's
that like?
unacceptable.
People
Oh my
actually
God.
talk to people?
Well,
I can't
they
handle
did.
that. My
And
anxiety.
people that had opinions that would get their butts kicked kept them to themselves?
I know. Shocking, isn't it? Which is why I kept to myself, because I always had opinions to get my ass kicked. But anyway, Tom King, say what you will, he's written many great comic books, and he's written Batman. Anyway, let that sink in. But anyway, he's got the start to a really terrific 8-issue series. And this came out about 2 weeks ago. It's called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And I was really enjoying this. The premise is that there is a woman who's looking to hire someone to help her out to find someone. And she's going around and everyone is turning her down. Then she goes into this bar where there's this 21-year-old blonde celebrating her birthday. And it turns out it is Kara Zor-El. She has gone to a planet with a red sun where she has no powers, where the drinks can affect her. And she brings Crypto the Superdog with her, and everything's going fine until somebody she basically whoops him in a very fair bar fight. He puts an arrow into Kara's chest, puts an arrow through Crypto. Now the SOB has to die. And then steals the spaceship that brought her there. That's all in the first issue. I'm really looking forward to that because of what Tom King seems to be able to do with a limited series. His Batman actually we hit more than it missed, but because of his work on Superman, and he did know the mythology. So I'm optimistic that this is going to be another good read. I'm really looking forward. The first issue was really fine. The artwork is by Bilquis Evely, and the colorist is Matthias Lopez. Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Gary Frank and Alex Sinclair do the variant cover. This one is by Evely and Lopez. It's kind of a pastiche of the classic Conan and other Barbarian covers, and edited by Brittany Holzer and Jamie S. Rich. This is definitely dare I say it, a super read here. I'm really looking forward to it. And I would give this, let's give it a 9.5 because, again, I want the next issue right now. Okay. And now I want to review something that I think everyone needs to run out and get. Call your comic shop and make them put a book back. And for those of you, you may wonder, what book is this good?
Moon Knight.
Good night, everyone. Anyway, no, wait, that's a Marvel comic. I don't have to worry. Anyway, no, believe it or not, Green Arrow turns 80 this month. That's right, but he looks good for his age. I think it's all those critters he was eating on the island. But anyway, like with Action Comics 1000, like with Detective 1000, and several other milestone books with DC, not the Milestone line, but the Milestone books, there are different variant covers for every decade that the character has been around. Michael Cho did this salute to the 1940s vibe of Green Arrow, and like in the other books, like the Action 1000 and the Detective 1000, each decade of the character's life is represented. And some cases are more successful than others. We get to see some really great art by people like Chris Mooneyham, Ivan Placencia, and Andrea Sorrentino. And also there's some people, and also we see the return of Devin Grayson, who used to write Nightwing and some of the other Bat books. it's good to see her back. And Tom Taylor works with writer Tom Taylor works with Nicholas Scott from the Birds of Prey to do a wonderful 1960s Green Arrow, where Black Canary wants him to learn boxing just in case something happens to those dang arrows. He doesn't realize his boxing coach is Ted Grant.
Yes! Yay!
See, the crowd goes wild, and it's a wonderful story, beautifully drawn by Nicola. Tom Taylor, of course, I yield to no person in my admiration of him. Phil Hester returns to represent the revival in the 90s, to this time writing and drawing with his old partner Andy Parks. But the real Ram V is in here. I like what Ram V does, but two stories stand out in here. One is written and drawn by Mike Grell, who did the Longbow Hunters back in the 80s and wrote the Green Arrow series in the 80s. Plus, he drew a whole bunch of the Green Lantern, Green Arrow books written with Denny O'Neil. Remember that name in a minute. And he does a short story in here, and Mr. Grell has lost none of his chops. It is just that story alone is worth the price of the book, as is the Taylor Scott one. But the real thing that really got me about this one, the last story in here, is as you know, in the 60s, Green Jeff Lemire has a story in here too, a penultimate story of the future Green Arrow, and also Ollie's stupendous chili recipe. Yes, the hard-hitting hero is famous for his chili, and it looks really good. And of course, Ollie's making it a quantity, and he's asking if anyone wants seconds. He's serving it to the Justice League. Martian Manhunter is crying, screaming, "It tastes like fire!" Superman is blowing on it with his super breath. Aquaman is screaming, "Water! Give me water!" The Flash is fanning his at super speed. Green Lantern is sweating, going, "I don't have enough willpower to eat this." And Batman says, it could use more crackers.
Yes.
But it looks like a delicious recipe. So if you're into, if you want to get the classic chili as only Ollie can make it from back in the days of the hard-hitting heroes in Green Lantern, Green Arrow, you've got your chance now. But the last one is a tribute to the late Denny O'Neil, who passed away a few months ago. Denny O'Neil got his start working in the 60s for some newspapers in Missouri, in the Joplin area, I think, in Cape Girardeau. He moved out east to New York with a desire to write comics, and he got a job as Stan Lee's assistant, but he eventually stepped down and Roy Thomas took his place. At the same time, he was writing some really great stories for Charlton Comics under the name Sergius O'Shaughnessy. When Dick Giordano was hired by DC in 1968 to become an editor there, he brought a number of his favorite people with him. Such, Steve Ditko was already there, but he brought over Jim Aparo, Joe Gill, and Denny O'Neil. His son Larry has written a tribute to his father that is like our favorite G.I. Joe story. It's called Tap Tap Tap. And there's no dialogue. It's all told. The word balloons represent things that Denny is seeing, things that Denny is working on, such as you see one here. He's writing Batman. Denny O'Neil brought back the Dark Knight in 1969 with Neil Adams. He when he took over Justice League of America in the 60s, he gave Green Arrow the fiery personality we see him with now, and hooked him up with Black Canary. Then, as writer of Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the first comic to consistently do relevant stories, he brought politics into play, where Oliver Queen was, very, very liberal versus Hal Jordan's conservatism. Very balanced view of it. And he's also written things like The Question and created Azrael, the League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul. Anyway, this details, including things like Denny's bout with alcoholism. He also wrote Spider-Man and Iron Man. a while back, edited The Dark Knight Returns, and then shows him with his son who wrote this story. Then it shows him falling in love, writing The Question. Shows the awards that Denny won during his life, and then as his life and career start to wind down, the last page shows his passing, and the last panel, and I hope I can get through this, I swear to God. And this is the hell of a spoiler. The last scene is Denny on his deathbed, his hand being held by Green Arrow, and he's surrounded by all the characters he wrote when he was at DC.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
It's an amazing story, and all the stories in there are really, really good. The 3 that I have detailed are so powerful, and they show what comics can really do. And like I said, just that last story alone, written by Denny's son, is just such a masterful bit of storytelling. This is a $10 book. It is a 100-page super special. It is worth it. Please pick this up in the name of the memory of Denny O'Neil, who I actually got to meet a couple times and was every bit as amazing as you could think he is. Plus, he was a terrific writer, one of the best writers in the history of comics. Plus, edited the Batman comics for years and years. There's just, he just left behind an incredible body of work, and would that we all would have people remember us the way they remember Denny O'Neil. I give, like I said, 9.5 because it's continued. This is a 15. This is more than worth it just for those 3 stories. Actually, if I judged the artwork on a couple of stories, I'd probably have to bring it down to a 10. But just those 3 stories alone that I mentioned by Tom Taylor, and Mike Grell, and Larry O'Neill make the whole book. And this book is ages 13 plus, $9.99, available right now at your local comic book shop. If they run out of any of these books that you've seen there, please ask them to contact Diamond or Lunar or whoever they're dealing with, and get them to order you a copy, because they might still
Who were
have
those
some
published by?
The best comic book publisher ever, Tower Comics. Anyway,
When you read we'll talk about Supergirl, when you got to the part where he stole her spaceship, what came to my mind was the Star Trek movie where, what does God need with a starship?
Well,
what does Supergirl need with a spaceship?
Well, if she wasn't vulnerable to the red sun overhead, then it wouldn't matter.
In all seriousness, I'm gonna go get that book tomorrow. Just for the Denny O'Neil tribute, because Denny O'Neil is one of the reasons I love comics.
Same here.
His work is what got me hooked. He's one of the best, I would say one of the best writers, not just comic book writers, the best writers of all time.
I would agree. Plus, he also wrote novels.
Yeah.
He did the adaptation of Nightfall in hardcover back in the day. But yeah, he was I can't say he wasn't an influence on my own work as well.
Plus, he's definitely a name everybody knows when you talk comics. Most comic people will know Denny O'Neil. Even newer people haven't read some of the stuff, they've heard of Denny O'Neil at least.
I would say he's one of he is on the Mount Rushmore of Batman for sure. The top 4 or 5 creators to actually make Batman who Batman is. One of them's Denny O'Neil, and he's a huge one.
He always seemed like a gateway writer to me, because he started at a time when the Comics Code Authority was very, very stringent.
Yeah.
And stories were kind of ridiculous, and he made them good.
Yeah.
And then he hung in there long enough to see that chipping away at the authority that would make everything okay for 6-year-olds, and brought it into a more mature art form. At a time when it needed somebody to do that, needed somebody for the transition, because the Manhunter stories I read by him as a kid, and the Batman stories, and the Hard Traveling Heroes, those all impacted me. It was my first view of, hey, this isn't all about the Superman Emergency Squad. This isn't all about, Crypto and Streaky, and I mean, those are fun, but this is kind of serious and kind of really cool.
And he was in charge when they killed Jason Todd. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure he's answering to that in the afterlife. Actually, I've talked to him about it, and he actually was very regretful that he was one of those people that didn't understand at the time why Batman needs an assistant. Not just for storytelling reasons, but also to balance out. And he said that because the vote was so close, it made him reassess how important Robin was to the Batman mythos. And it was under his watch, we got a couple more bad people. He was editor of the line for close to 20 years, I think. And that doesn't even count the writing he was still doing for several of the characters, plus his question, a character he did not handle at Charlton. He did write Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, a couple issues of that. But he he would write the question, and he turned it from just another crime fighting mystery man into it reflected Denny's interest in Zen. The idea that I am fighting, but I want peace. How do I resolve that? I am a man who wants quiet and stillness and everyone to get along, and yet I must use violence. See. And then he did like a 100-issue run of Azrael, another character he created with Joe Quesada. And it was one of those things where I noticed as a writer that not every issue clicked. You could tell, maybe he was, not feeling well that month. Maybe he couldn't think of a plot, but he had craft enough that you would still read that story and enjoy it. Yeah. He hit all the right notes when he would sit behind the typewriter.
If he didn't kill Robin, we would have never had Jason, or we would have never had Red Hood.
There we go. See, worth it.
He's indirectly responsible for Red Hood. There we go.
That's right. That's right. Okay, that's two things. Anyway,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and it wasn't just the fact that I have met him a couple times and interviewed him, but it's one of those problems when you interview people and you're fighting your inner fanboy.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Danny, sort of things. Or I managed to restrain myself a little. Anyway, and from the desk of the Small Press Publisher, another book like that was Wonder Woman 700. Thank you. And hello, Michaela Jade. Mwah! Good to see you on Facebook and on YouTube. And folks, don't forget, if you're watching live or even on the rerun, please give us a like on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. I don't know what you do on Twitch, but anyway, do it there too. And everyone's saying hello to each other, and let's see, and they're having a conversation. They don't care about us. They really don't care. And Brian Hawkins says, I'd seen the last few panels of the O'Neill story posted online, but didn't know what book it was from. Yeah, Bleeding Cool had something on it like 2 days ago. And one other thing I should mention, I held up the Michael Cho cover, but like Wonder Woman 700, like Action 1000, this comes in a variety of covers. So
like a cover from each decade, right?
Right. Yes.
Like,
exactly. Yeah. Michael Cho did the 40s variant cover. The 50s is Daniel Warren Johnson with Mike Spicer. Ooh, 60s is by Neil Adams.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh la la. And 70s is by Derek Chu. 80s decade variant is by Gary Frank.
Mm-hmm.
With Brad Anderson coloring. Oh, 90s is by Howard Porter, who did JLA with Grant Morrison.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then the aughts were Jen Bartel, and the teens, I guess you'd call it, are by Simone DeMeo. So there's some pretty powerful talent doing the variant cover. So hopefully your local comic monger carries it, and you can pick the cover of your choice, and then come back and tell us why it was Neil Adams. Anyway,
I'm glad to see they're doing it with characters besides just the Trinity. You know,
Yeah.
some of
Mhm.
the characters who aren't Super or Bat or Wonder are getting the same kind of treatment when they hit 80. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, the Super Wonder Bat.
Oh, there's something to draw, Eric. There you go, man.
I can see the toy line already. Uh,
What
and
kind
let's
of
see.
toy with that though? I don't know. We'll see.
There we go. And they're having a discussion over there about names.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. John had some comments.
You're such a jerk.
John, thank you for watching. I don't care what Eric says. I love you. And we are listening to you guys just chatting over here. Yeah, see, they don't need us.
Good old
and-
John dog.
Yeah, and hey, John. So anyway, and Carl Witzman and Seltzer says, "Don't feel bad, Joe. She has to wear her name on her own shirt at work. Otherwise, she forgets her secret identity." Shame on you, Carl. Shame on you 2 times. Submit yourself to Michaela for your spanking. Wait a minute, he's already there. Anyway, but no, yeah, it's definitely worth it. But and also the other comics reviewed here so far. But now we are going to hear what our friend Clyde Hall has to say. That's right. Everybody getting ready for this. I'm gonna go run and get some more water. I'm so excited. Anyway, here he is, the one, the only, the highly renowned Clyde Hall.
Hi.
Take it away, Clyde.
Okay. Speaking of variant covers, Blue Flame #1. All of the they have a lot of variants of this. This one is a tribute to the Rocketeer, and has a very nice write up on the back about Dave Stevens and an homage. It talks about an homage to it. So not only did they grab the look, but they also did a very nice write-up for it on the back. So it got my attention with this issue, and then Brian reviewed it, Brian Morris. So my review this week is going to be for Blue Flame #2.
Nice.
Now, the variety of covers, much less. It's not a premiere issue, so we have 2 covers. And this one of them is the hero. It's very impressive. This one is actually more germane to the storyline because you have this galactic border, extraterrestrial, planetscapes, and right in the middle of it, you've got a lady with her car on the roadway, very, very much terrestrial, and that is a very good summation of the way that this story is playing out. It reminds me a little bit of what Eric was talking about. It is a very uniquely framed story, and not all details are given to you at one time. I think that they do a little better job than what they did with Eric's comic. I think Christopher Cantwell is about his business. He's a good scripter. He's going a very clever path, and he basically is not spoon feeding readers. He wants you to keep up. But this is Blue Flame #2, and it is from Vault Comics, $3.99, written by Christopher Cantwell. Art is by Adam Gorham. Colors by Kurt Michael Russell. Letters by Hassan Usman Elway. The maturity level is listed as 12 plus. Take a moment here to look at some of the artwork, because there are some very beautiful bits. It starts off very much in our world. This is a morning ritual, morning routine kind of thing for a character that we don't know very well yet. But very soon we graduate to a cosmic setting that was introduced last time. I love the mood that this page delivers.
That is a gorgeous page.
Yeah,
That's nice.
And it does that continuously. It goes back and forth between a very terrestrial story and a very extraterrestrial one. I like it. I like it in that respect. Big props for being able to jut back and forth. Here's another version of the cosmic setting that is not one solid color. It shows layers of different civilizations. It is kind of, the lettering is well done because, as you can see, this has got quite a bit to say, and yet it never gets in the way of the art. Not always an easy task to accomplish. Back to the real or more Earth-like world that we are exploring, we see good character studies, we see slice of life, and then we're back to galactic storytelling again. And so goes back and forth that way. But the story, the artwork, I enjoyed, but the story itself. Last month's premiere from Vault Comics was covered by Brian Morris, and it continues its winning ways. He gave it a good review. The scripter, Christopher Cantwell, he frames this dual reality story in a very clever way, and number 2 makes some needed connections that, at least with one formative scene from the first issue. Cantwell is a good enough storyteller. He actually just dropped a 2-page spread into the first issue that didn't seem to have anything to do with the rest of the story, and took for granted that readers would make the connection and would have the patience to wait for more details. In number 1, we're introduced to a cosmic hero, the Blue Flame. He's investigating an unknown sector of space and being taken prisoner by its alien inhabitants. We also meet the Blue Flame, a street-level vigilante fighter who patrols the mean streets of Milwaukee. That Blue Flame's secret identity is a blue-collar HVAC repairman named Sam Browsam. In the wake of horrific tragedy, boundaries between those two Blue Flame identities blur even further. And before a universal trial, the Blue Flame on the cosmic scene must prove that humanity is worth saving, if Sam Browsam can first save himself. That's part of the solicit blurbs for the title, and we pick up once more on those Milwaukee streets. Following the morning ablutions of Dee, that's the young woman we saw, she was dropped unceremoniously and disjointedly into that 2-page section last issue with her boyfriend, Mateo, neither having anything to do with the Blue Flame that we knew then, and they were discussing her apparent pregnancy. Her ritual this morning includes a pregnancy test, positive, and it becomes clear that is happening before the scene in number 1. So this very much continues the pacing and sequential style that Cantwell began with. And he doesn't spoon-feed the narrative. He expects readers to keep up and to be patient. The first section in number 2 is a slice of Dee's everyday life. It's a slice with navigating an icy commute to work, standing in line for coffee and donuts, and a water cooler talk every step of the way about a local charity event, Shooting Spree. In fact, it's the event that was seen in number 1 where Blue Flame's bargain basement hero alliance, the Night Brigade, are targeted by a gun-wielding assailant. As the deadly details slowly emerge, Dee remains focused on her own troubles, giving only surface consideration and sympathy regarding that incident. Then we return to the captive cosmic adventurer Blue Flame as he's guided by Yarriks of the Tribunal Consensus in preparing to be the defense counsel regarding humanity's hearing for continued existence. Yarriks explains the trial process, and he also reveals the one ability that all consensus races have and which humanity apparently lacks. Another question posed in this largely philosophical examination becomes, what can't we live without? In the final act, a connection between Dee and that shooting spree is revealed, and there's a convergence of the dual Blue Flame realities. This veers into a classic sci-fi fantasy theme that we've seen in everything from Tarnsmen of Gore to the Wonderful World of Oz to A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. What is reality and what's fantasy? What realities might be interpreted as a fever dream or a coma? When and how do those lines blur? Going this deep into the metaphysical nature of the story early on gives Cantwell ample opportunity for exploration. This is supposed to be, I believe, a 12-issue series, so we're in issue 2 here. He's going to have a lot of time to be able to examine it. Through the uncomfortable questions posed by the alien authority and the manner in which they are entertained, the writer makes the convoluted discussion of humanity's right to endure poignant through focus. Mankind in all of its prideful and divisive ways, places most importance on all of the least of their pursuits repeatedly. The Night Brigade and their bitterly realistic fate, the world that we experienced through their shooting incident, it could serve as a dissection in what would otherwise be a theoretical anatomy lesson on culture and on civilization and on what kinds of creatures we humans be. Hopefully, Cantwell avoids any predestination or all you zombies pathways to his conclusion. There's one particular scene that keeps tickling the edges of my perception as a riff on those related narratives, but I hope that that's not the case. Not every artist transitions easily between those cosmic adventures and earthbound human stories. Adam Gorham has the gift. His Milwaukee is real enough to taste snowflakes floating down, probably along with the pollution content that they have. And his space operatic alien beings, both menacing and benign, are equally so. Earth being so us, in fact, makes the otherworldly not us races as likely to exist and perhaps as likely to see little in common with our human values. Kurt Michael Russell turns in another fine example of his colors work. The moody hues of that page 5, where he's into detention and it's very monochromatic. That required multiple views for me for the full appreciation. And that image, backed by Aaron Fisher's Space Earth from his Blue Flame composition, is a mood unto itself. And just when you think that Russell's strength is found in distant soils and extraterrestrial holding cells, he puts the right bright sprinkles on a pastry, or the uniform of a backstreet superhero. He gives it tones glowingly optimistic and courageous. Hassan Utsman Elway's letters do heavy lifting this issue, but never grab a lion's share of space. You saw some good examples of that. He's got some dialogue to deliver, and yet, even when it's ample, he breaks it up logically. He also keeps special effects noises minimal this time, which I think was appropriate for the kind of story we went into. There's one scene where there's a Saturn V rocket lifting off, and it's not compromised by any. It doesn't require any special effects sounds. You could have easily put them in there, but the visual impact is much greater without it. And I think he realized that, and so he went minimal in that way. And in number 2, the Blue Flame evolves from its space operatic cosmic introduction, very space opera in that first issue, and it matures into something more science fiction in form. The changing sensibility, it's got a welcome freshness, and it could even be enjoyable if played out further through future issues in contrasts. Like, is there a great fantasy parallel possible alongside a pure superheroic take, or a horror backroad available in considering mankind's futuristic fate? Is Sam as Blue Flame here across the galaxy or in any theater truly except that of his own imagination? Will there be more original music from Aaron Fisher? Because yes, as we saw, if you go there, that QR code takes you to a beautiful piano selection that he wrote after reading Blue Flame #1. But it says this is the music for Blue Flame #1 and 2. So I'm hoping for some more of that downloadable through the QR code. Personally, I want to learn more about the Night Brigade too. We learned a little bit more about them, but we saw them more in issue 1. They're the real world approach to vigilantism. They're that bargain basement group. They seem like some of the Good Samaritan groups that we've seen actually rise up in cities to help people, costume, go out and they would help people, except they did fight crime. They were actually crime fighters, but they were always, their vigilantism was held out as vigilantes. They had less than growing reputation with law enforcement, and they were in pursuit of a better clubhouse and Wi-Fi access. So that bare bones street level kind of hero group I want to know more about. So I'm going to be coming back for more issues and hopefully getting some answers to these questions, as well as the philosophical deliberation on mankind's continuance. So my score for the Blue Flame #2 is going to be 8 out of 10. And while I'm at it, last week I reviewed the 6 sidekicks of Trigger Keaton #1, and I criticized the lack of letterer credits for the title. Well, artist Chris Schweizer replied on Twitter. And this is what Chris said. Thanks so much for the thoughtful review, Clyde. So far as your lettering question goes, I did it and the colors as well. Liz, my wife, helped speed up the process by flattening the characters, which I think Brian or maybe Eric suggested that perhaps that's how they split up the coloring duties. I consider anything on the page itself, letters, colors, lines, to be art. And I don't split it up unless different individuals are responsible for different parts, like if there is a separate letterer. Doing so feels silly to me, like a very amateur movie where they are full credits, but the same person is credited in each position. That said, I do recognize that there's a history of folks not being credited for their roles. I don't want to suggest that that ain't an injustice when it happens. I just want to help normalize the notion that lettering and coloring is a natural part of the art. So I thanked him for his reply, and now we've heard right from the source what he intended with that. So, there was no lettering credit. It was a really good lettering job, and I praised it. I just wish that they had said why, but I do understand where he's coming from with it. So,
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Well done.
As always.
I would clap, but I have a selfish little furball right here.
Which one is it?
Neat. This is Luna, and currently we're on an adventure with the new one named Beasley, who Luna just wants to just eliminate her from existence.
I saw the murder look.
Oh, it is real. It is real. So she's hanging with me. And we're letting Beasley have free roam of the house as I have my assistant in here with me while I'm working. So there we go.
Well, if you like the colorist on the Blue Flame, there he has a Colors with Kurt on YouTube channel.
Yeah,
a lot of tutorials on how to do stuff and live streams all the time. I sent you guys the link for he was doing live. He was coloring issue 4 already, so you know everything's in the can. They're working on it ahead of time. I do have a question about the Blue Flame.
Yeah,
would the character be more interesting if he was an HVAC technician but worked at Strickland Propane selling propane and propane accessories?
That's an interesting question. Yeah. Good question.
I don't actually. I think he'd be a charcoal guy. I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that. He probably has when he cooks out, he has one of those little smokestacks. Warm the coals. You put the newspaper in below, spritz a little oil on them, and just let it light up that way rather than spritzing them with charcoal fluid. So I could see that.
I'm curious.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm curious about
the legs.
Poor cat. Yeah.
Luna's just spreading out over here. Man, what are you doing? Go do something with yourself. Get out of here.
Do it behind his head. Yeah, right.
The Night Brigade and the very earthbound version of the Blue Flame. I'm really curious to know if he actually, because it looks like he's got like flamethrowers from gauntlets or from these deals that he's made. And again, they seem like if you guys have ever seen the real world superheroes that go out and they help people and they patrol, they're not vigilantes as much as they are just helpers. Right. They call the police if there's a problem. Well, these guys have that very much that feel, and yet apparently they were stopping criminals with fire coming out their gloves. Yeah. I want to see some more of that. They were at a charity when this shooting occurred, of which they may have been the target. We don't know for sure. But each issue comes out with a little bit more of that. And that's really got me. The philosophical debate is interesting, but that's really got me fascinated to see what kind of group this is and exactly what kind of as an HVAC guy, could he make flamethrowers on his wrists? Yeah, he could.
Oh yeah.
But what kind of a I mean, I could understand where law enforcement has a problem with him just burning people.
No, it's
flame on.
Anyway, it's a side consideration, but the group is interesting, and they give you just enough to keep you interested in finding out more about each of the members, not just him. So,
one thing you brought out was the rating on this comic, and I didn't notice it when I was reviewing the first issue, that it's kind of like they're thinking it's an all ages the 13 and up and everything. But it's like I distinctly saw some the sort of language that got my mouth washed out with soap when I was that age.
Yeah.
I saw an S word. I don't mean snow.
Mhm.
I saw I think I saw was it the latest issue had an F bomb in it?
I kind of wondered when I went to put down what they rate, but I go with what they rate it. And
Yeah.
I found online that's what they rated it. So but most 12 or 13-year-olds have probably heard those sorts of words.
I said those words when I was in the 2nd grade.
And
That's right. That's right.
They don't go overboard.
I learned how to spell them in the 3rd.
Right, exactly.
They don't
Well,
go
those
overboard
words
with
are
it.
on TV now.
And I learned what,
not the F word so much, but
Yeah.
and I learned what
most
that
of
meant
them,
when I was a senior in high school. No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, really though, Eric. Like honestly, I mean, you look at like 80s and early 90s kids movies, like things that were PG would be like R now.
Oh yeah,
almost like
Sure.
yeah. So yeah, I think throwing a little more mature stuff at kids is actually a good thing.
Hey, Transformers movie had 2 curse words in it, right? 2?
And its main character died.
I know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you made me cry again.
cry, do it.
Now he's getting back at us for our drinking game.
Oh, now I'm sad.
That was sad. But Eric's earlier comment said that was a good one from the Modesto Small Press Publisher. Carl Witzman like to know, is Clyde growing his mustache out?
I'm actually growing my beard back. I've got
Yes!
some cosplay coming up. So
Join the club.
Mhm.
There we go. And now I'm going to be the only clean shaven one on here. Okay. And Michaela Jade
got the
slipped
mutton
earlier
chops.
with the. Well, yeah, that's true. I got the mutton chops. Okay, I'm in the club. Says she slipped with wet fingers. Sorry, she's in the tub. I'm not sorry you're in the tub. That's all for tonight, folks. Bye. Anyway, and Carl likes it too. And Carl says, I think it's cool that comic uses QR codes and links to music. And I tell you what, that is an interesting question.
I'll tell you what, Bobby.
I'll tell you what, Bobby.
That's right. Well, and we were talking earlier. There was a review of Blue Flame on bleedingcool.com this week, and Clyde mentioned that the writer is expecting you to keep up. Unlike the stuff that Eric's been reviewing, that where he has to bring in an outside consultant, like he's on Do You Want to Be a Millionaire?
It's the director's cut. You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
The commentary.
Yeah.
The commentary.
Yeah, it's like the Blu-ray.
I should have read this instead.
Yeah, I was in a comic shop today. Hello, Comics Cube. Yeah.
Jeez, what's the hate on Archie Comics?
How
Or is it
many?
the artist?
Count the ankles. Count the ankles when you go through there. But anyway, yeah, okay, that'll keep you busy for a while. Like drawing a line of sand in front of a chicken. But anyway, but no, I looked at that book and I almost picked it up, and I thought, well, it's a part of a series. I'll just wait, and it is who it is. So anyway, actually, I shouldn't say anything because he does get work. He constantly gets work. And honestly, most of it I like. Of course, he's also responsible for some of the worst comics I've ever read. Anyway, Cindy Cap says, unpopular opinion, the existence of mature content in kids' entertainment is not an excuse for more of the same. I would
say, well, let me nuance what I said. And I think Cindy and I probably just disagree on some of this, but it depends on what you label as mature content. Now, you're talking like nudity, things like, no. Sexual content, no. But I don't think that should be in kids' comics. But I'm an advocate for like books like Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was the show. But Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And not a comic, but that was very controversial when it came out in the late 80s and early 90s. Got banned from a lot of school libraries, but I ate it up. I loved that. I loved Goosebumps, but I really loved Fear Street which was R.L. Stine's more mature version of
Right.
Goosebumps. And also a lot of the old EC comics. I really dug them as a kid. And I mean, it just, I think when you introduce some mature stuff to kids with guidance, like don't just throw it at them and see what happens, but with guidance, I think it can be helpful. But I think it also depends on the kid. You know, if you've got a kid that's out there killing animals, maybe don't give them mature comics, maybe give them psychiatric help. But you know, we'll see.
The opinions of Mr. Rodman do not reflect those of the Rising
They're
Tide
dissecting
Network.
small animals in the basement. You might want to have them taken away in the first place.
That's you put the kid back. You know, just do something else. I don't know. They need more time to cook.
Yeah. I don't think he understands how that works. Anyway,
That's how it works. 22 ankles, by the way. 22 ankles.
Okay, there we go. You have it here. Then maybe I should have picked it up because it sounds like a worthwhile comic.
I would love to see the heroes, the Archie heroes, get a really solid restart. But what got me not so much as who was involved, but that they switched horses. Like he did part of it, and then he quit, and then they had to bring somebody else in to finish it. That does
yeah. Something happened like that. I remember I read something about that recently.
So I just kind of I thought I would wait and just see what people said, and then maybe I'll get it if everybody if they praise it. But I have seen so many of the Mighty Crusader versions just flop, and I just don't want to see it again. I like the characters too much for that. So
yeah, I have to agree. I mean I remember the comics from the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just in their own books, but also appearing like in Laugh and Pep as a backup feature and such.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did I miss?
We're reading ahead. We're sorry.
Oh god. Okay, let's get over
The kids down below are laughing. It just has no mind.
What is Brian Rodman saying that unbirthing is real?
No comment. No.
Wow.
Or it could be like the joke about us guys, you know, 9 months getting out and the rest of our never mind.
Whoa.
Oh.
Took an adult turn.
Hey,
speaking of mature content,
Hold on.
Yeah, put up the.
There we go. There we go. We earned it, fellas. All right.
We earned it this time. We own it tonight, kids. Anyway, this is where you're going to learn all those words. Anyway, and how they're spelled. But anyway, I don't even remember where I was going now. Derailed me. And yeah, Carl, we wheeled out the mature logo. We did that for our own protection here. But yeah, no. Oh, I remember where I was. No, I remember growing up with the individual Archie characters. Then they became the Mighty Crusaders in the late 60s under Jerry Siegel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which were fun. Some of the solo stories were what's the word? Oh yeah, abominable.
Mm-hmm.
And actually he gave the worst comic line that I have ever read, where it was a hangman story where he's going after someone and he tells them, "I loathe your evil ilk."
I'm going to say that to people now.
If you've ever had your evil ilk loathed, you know just how painful it can be. Yes. Uh-huh.
That's right. Yeah, you could have gotten that nice ilk, but no, wouldn't spend the extra money. But then they had a revival of them in the 80s with Rich Buckler, Martin Grime, Dick Ayers, Chick Stone, Stan Timmons, a whole bunch of really great creators. But like Clyde said, since then they've had
the Impact line with DC.
Right.
That was nice. That was pretty good.
Okay, but it wasn't quite the characters we knew.
Right. They changed them some, but I enjoyed that. That was one of the few times that I was like, all right, that's very respectful treatment, even though they're a little different.
Yeah.
They were I liked that take on them, but most of the takes are not that good. So
yeah, there was one about 10 years ago or so that Archie did that was not wonderful, and I remember DC licensed them for a while.
Yeah, that was the Impact.
No. This is back after 2000.
Oh, Okay.
They had like a mini series or something. It was very short lived, and they were like dropping some of the characters. I remember the Shield appeared in an issue of Wonder Woman, for instance. The fact that you don't remember this, Clyde, is telling.
Yeah, it wasn't too
You
long
know,
apparently, but yeah.
yeah, it wasn't a hoax. It wasn't an imaginary story. It wasn't a dream. It was a nightmare. No, it it was not memorable. But the last one from Archie, where they were trying to straddle that line between we want to tell superhero stories, but we want to kind of dumb it down to a kid's level. You know, it's kind of like an entry book for kids, but we want to do the tropes that the more mature comics do, and we don't want to pay a whole lot for the art.
Yeah.
So
I gotta say, Archie Comics they're the ones that
Thank you,
I go to I praise them for getting me into comics. It was the
Oh, yeah.
Archie Ninja Turtle comics and the Death of Superman. Those were the big two that pulled me in when I was a kid. So I loved, you know, the Archie, and then of course the Archie comics with the Sabrina stuff and everything. It's a little more edgy, you know. It's filled with angst. But I loved the kid friendly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff from Archie. It was good times.
Yeah, and I find I appreciate like not. I can't say like the current stuff that is more mature, more edgy, but the classic look.
Yeah,
You know, the stuff, the Stan Goldberg, Dan DeCarlo stuff. I grew to like it a lot as I got older because I was looking for comics that were more fun.
Yeah. And Archie, the old Archie, they did like the digest size too, right?
They still do.
Oh yeah,
they still do. Okay,
they still find it in the grocery stores. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Archie comics, they've gone through the past couple decades a lot of upper office issues, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. There we go, Clyde. Yeah,
Now-
with owners and the sons and daughters of owners, all kinds of stuff. There's a couple like not mock documentaries, but amateur documentaries on stuff that goes on over there.
Here we go.
Somebody else is turning 80 along with Green Arrow.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Archie better not make me cry though.
No, I don't think he will. But I've been thinking.
Watch
about
Riverdale,
doing
you'll
this.
cry.
Yeah. This is actually a Dan Parent news story, but it is very much in the modern setting. And they're, Archie's using apps and he's online to find work and things so he can buy a new electric guitar. It's a cute little story. And the only bad thing was they did a backup that has been all over the internet. It's cool, but it's sort of like, I wish they'd just filled this with more news stories, but back in 1997, they did a future of school, all of it online. Oh. And so people during the pandemic were holding up the story and reprinting it and putting it out online to show, look, they knew what was going to happen ahead of the time. Not because of a pandemic, it's just, that they could go to school with never leaving home and their parents could watch them and get onto them to keep up with their studies and stuff. So it kind of reflected the year that we had. But
yeah, right.
But
the thing is, the Archie comics could not predict the proliferation of pornography, though, that the kids are really watching instead of doing.
You're reading the wrong Archie comics.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if those are the same, Brian. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I expect a little more out of, Cheryl Blossom than most people. But anyway, Ryan Permisson has shared this. Thank you, buddy. Please share this show and impress your comic book loving friends. Hello, CBS crew. How are you? Got back issues of The Shadow and Spider-Man 2099 this week.
Nice.
Good choices, man. Good choices. But yeah, Archie has had a number of changes in the last year. Like Clyde said, that one of the relatives it's a family company that's been passed down. And the current heirs are like this almost all the time. It really is. It really is. Plus then, like, what is it, about 4 or 5 years ago, Archie still puts out like the digest, and you can still find the classic Archie look in there, the more cartoony stuff. But then they were starting to put stuff that had a little bit more edge to it, like The Chilling Tales of Sabrina was written by the guy who's now the showrunner for Riverdale.
Right.
And he's a terrific writer. But he had her worshiping Satan.
Oh yeah, I mean the Netflix
She's a witch,
show,
right?
Yeah, well the
Yeah.
Netflix show is intense, man, and it's based on that series. I dig it. I think it's pretty good. Of course, I like the darker stuff. So,
well, they have had some things like Vampironica,
yeah,
where Veronica
Jughead, the
launches
Hunger?
her into a vampire, and
Yeah.
Jughead is a werewolf in another title. Then
Archie versus Predator.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so great.
That was terrific. Both
Yeah.
series
Good.
of that was awesome. Plus, they did
Archie Afterlife or something
yes,
like that.
Afterlife with Archie.
Afterlife
Afterlife
Archie,
with
yeah.
Archie. Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, I can't and this was before that, but they did that. Michael Oslin, who is the producer of the Batman movies and TV shows, he wrote that 6-issue series in Archie 600, I think it was, where it examined what Archie, marrying either Veronica or Betty, and then it became a magazine with Paul Kupperberg writing and several other people drawing. And one story was about Archie. It was like two different continuities. One where Archie married Veronica and one where Archie married Betty. They had a cross-dimensional team up at one point, and it ended with let's see, they killed Miss Grundy. Cheryl Blossom got breast cancer, and in the very last issue, one of the Archies was assassinated.
Well, in Riverdale, Archie was banging Grundy.
Yep.
Well, that's probably true. There we go.
Okay,
That's
so
how he got
I made
Eddie's
fun of it.
for
But I
great.
watched like 3 seasons of it.
I was about to say, Eric, you know quite a bit about this show, sir.
Okay, real quick. Betty or Veronica, and don't say both. That's a cop out.
Betty.
Sabrina.
Well, you cheated. That wasn't an option.
I will say Betty as well.
Yes.
I
I just had this vision of Eric, in the quiet of his art studio, one single light burning down upon his artboard, and he'll be like, "Well, you don't think that Archie is isn't doing the wild thing with Miss Grundy? Yes, he is. Look at this."
Dear CW.
And I will say in Riverdale, Miss Grundy wasn't as old as she was in the comic book.
There we go. And she predated the trend for silver hair.
from the time they did the Sabrina cartoon when I was a little kid,
Yes.
I was smitten. This is before she was worshiping Satan and was a witch on on television.
If you're willing to overlook that,
Yeah.
This Groovy Ghoulies, her cousin, the Groovy Ghoulies.
Yeah.
I just thought she was the coolest girl ever. But before her choice, Betty was always a Betty infatuation, because she could, Veronica could buy very beautiful fashions. Betty could make them. And there you go. Creative Betty, so.
I tell you what, one of the, because back in the old days when we had TGIF on Friday nights on ABC, when Sabrina the Teenage Witch was on, my favorite character from that show, which I think helped shape some of my humor, was the cat, Salem.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I relate more to his personality than any other character on that show.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And in fact, you talk about, Clyde talked about Sabrina and Archie. There was a sequence in the regular Archie comic a couple of years ago, written by Nick Spencer, who turned Captain America into a Nazi. Hail Hydra. And he wrote a sequence where
on Veterans Day.
Of course.
Oh,
timing is everything. But yeah, he wrote a sequence where Archie had kind of broken it off with Veronica and Betty, and they're like, well, who's he seeing? He's got to be seeing somebody. And it turned out he was dating Sabrina in secret. But now they've ended that storyline. Nick Spencer's gone back to Marvel completely, and now he's hooking up with Katie Keene. Which Clyde and I may be the only two.
I have no idea who that is. So,
I don't know. I mean,
I know we're
If
old.
Archie isn't, fighting an underground fight club, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's next month. That's next month when I'm writing it. But no,
Archie,
no,
rule number
putting-
1.
Putting hot dog into the pit dog fights.
There we go. Yeah, yeah. And thank God we didn't say like, who do you like, Betty, Sabrina, hot dog. Anyway, but no. Let's get to some of the comments here. And Jennifer Hawkins is checking up. Says Eric knows a lot about Riverdale. Don't let him fool you.
Well, you know what we're going to do right here? We're going to go over to YouTube.
Okay.
Oh.
Are we
That
sharing?
comment is now removed.
And blocked. And Carl Wisman says no redhead, just Veronica and Betty. No, Cheryl Blossom is a redhead.
I can hear
Boy,
her laughing.
You're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. And for this one, I am like Clyde with this Who Betty and Veronica issue. I am Team Valerie Brown from
Ooh.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, there you
Oh.
go. Yeah.
Yep.
I love
Which
that
on
movie.
Riverdale, once again.
Yeah.
That's right.
So much information about Riverdale. You know, Eric, I believe you have like a poster in your room, and you're part of the fan club on Facebook.
I don't know when we stopped watching it. I don't remember why we stopped watching it. I mean, it isn't a great show, I'll tell you that. But
It's on the
it was-
CW, I know.
Yeah. I finally stopped watching The Flash. I just couldn't take it anymore.
However, Superman and Lois is the best thing CW's ever done outside of
Is it
Supernatural.
though? Is it?
Yes, it is. Have you watched all
How
of them?
dumb are his kids to grow up not knowing he was Superman?
Well, they're stupid, but kids are dumb. So, I mean, you got to look
How
past
do you
a couple
not know
things.
your dad's Superman till you're in your teens? Well, it can't be. He wears glasses. Okay,
Well,
Terry.
that's a whole different issue right there.
Mom, I'm different than the other kids. I was looking through the gym wall the other day and realized I'm not like the others.
Yeah, Dad does it all the time. Don't worry about it.
Wait, what?
Like father,
You're
like
Superman
son.
and you never told me. Ah!
I have heard nothing but praise about that show, but I've only watched like the first episode. I haven't gotten back to it yet.
You should watch more than the first. It's actually really good.
Cool.
I was
That's what
impressed.
I'm
Now, the
Yeah.
second season's going to be delayed, though, isn't it?
Oh,
I think I
probably-
heard-
Probably so.
Yeah.
I have
What
no
isn't?
idea.
What
Yeah.
isn't?
I mean,
And
they released the first episode, and then you had to wait like 3 months before the second one came. out.
Whose couch is Eric sleeping on
Well
tonight, Betty
done.
or Veronica's?
Well done.
No, she
Yeah, for a
retracted
good
that
one.
comment, but she doesn't know once it hits StreamYard, it stays here.
Yeah.
It's retracted onto YouTube, but it's not over here.
Well, I'm
There we
glad
go.
StreamYard saved it for us.
That's right. Legends of Tomorrow. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Stargirl
And-
also 6 more weeks. We get season 2 of Stargirl. CW can impress me by doing as well with that as they did when it was not on CW. If they can maintain the quality of that show, I'll be happy.
Yeah. And Jody McPhee, if you think you like that comment from Jennifer. So if Eric deletes my comment, whose couch is he sleeping on tonight? You think Betty or Veronica will let him in? Well, it depends on whose comment he likes better, apparently. So Cheryl Blossom's still in the running, and and now that we know that he's got this thing for Miss Grundy.
Now, speaking of CW, I love the first couple seasons of The Flash. I mean,
Oh, me too.
love them.
Yeah.
And then just start getting less loving.
Every
and left
villain was
and
a
left.
speedster. That was, and then everyone in the show became a speedster, and I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't fun anymore. I don't.
Mhm.
I didn't.
I can't watch The
Personally-
Littlest Dinosaur without crying.
That's a fun fact.
Well, the episode that
I
that
don't
Kevin
know.
Smith over here directed.
Oh yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
That's right. Oh gosh, that was a good episode. That was a really good episode.
they need to bring Kevin Smith
And
back.
then, but the problem, from a storytelling perspective, I hated that Zoom was like who he was in the show, because I thought I was totally wanting them to go a different direction, or I wanted Hunter Zolomon to be that Earth's version of Barry's dad. Because that would have just been, especially after he kills Barry's dad, I was like, that would have been amazing. But it was just the Guy Garrett, and I was like, come on now. I got disappointed, and then after that, the show just kind of went downhill.
Yeah,
So.
it just seemed to me like every season started a new flashpoint.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely. So yeah, I gotta say the first 3 seasons of Arrow were really good. Season 4 was rough, and then it kind of just teetered out for me.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of CW shows they start strong, for the most part, and then they just kind of don't. They kind of
Smallville,
fizzle
it
out.
stayed good most of the time.
Smallville was weird. Smallville was
Yeah.
good for like 5 seasons, and then seasons 6 and 7 were like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
seasons 8 through 10 were amazing.
It was very
Yes.
similar to Supernatural. They stopped using good music.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
And now we
Smallville
got a
is
cartoon coming our way.
Yes, I was going to
the
mention that.
sequel
With
series.
All the trying to get all the cast together. Well,
Except for,
Except for one.
except for Sex Cult Lady.
Yeah,
So-
but I think that'll be part of her work release.
Or either that, I was going to say, yeah, just doing voiceover work from jail is Allison
yeah,
Mack.
I will say I always like Chloe better than Lana anyway.
Oh, I did too. I couldn't
Yeah.
stand
until
Lana-
Erica Durant showed up, then it was all about Lois.
Well, Lois,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Like the Clark and Lana stuff, man, got old real fast for me. I was like, oh my gosh, how many times can you break up and get back together? I was like, just
I think
become
I
Superman
watched
already.
the first season, and then it got into the whole soap operatic
Yeah.
Lana, and I didn't care. I didn't care enough.
Oh
to keep
man, I'll
going
tell you
with
what.
it. And then the last 3 seasons, they decided
Oh.
to bring in all the other heroes.
Yeah.
Like
that
they
was
had the
great.
Justice Society came in.
Yep.
They had Booster Gold and Blue Beetle together in an episode,
Yep.
and so they were showing everybody but Clark. I'm like, great, I'm here.
Well,
for
what
this.
happened was, so what happened, I know way too much about this show. So what happened was the first 4 seasons, right, were his journey through high school, and it all led up to the Fortress of Solitude being made, which season 4, in my opinion, outside of 8 through 10, was phenomenal. So
It was
like how you just, they're all searching for the pieces of this stone to put together, and there's the witch aspect of it, which was kind of weird, but it still fit. And then knowing, like, I had no clue. I did not see it coming that was going to form what the crystal that created the Fortress of Solitude. How they weaved that season together was just brilliant. And that team of producers took over the show after season 7, which is why 8 through 10 they were like, we're going to intentionally, we're doing 4 more seasons and then it's done.
Yeah.
And he'll be Superman. And so this is just a journey to him becoming Superman. And I thought they
He'll
did
be
a great
CG
job.
Superman.
Right. Yeah. And then they'll just get it just a little bit right there. Yeah.
And Supernatural's coming
weird-
back as well.
Which,
That's
yeah,
right.
well,
Yeah.
kind of.
Well,
And
yeah,
Jared,
Yeah.
and Jared Padalecki is very unhappy.
supposedly.
Well, no, on Twitter he came out and
He
he's
said
like,
they're all good now.
oh, okay. Well, I'm good. I can sleep better at night now.
Yeah.
I was worried.
Hey, he's got Walker, Texas.
I was
Ranger.
gonna say he's
What
Chuck
does he
Norris
care?
light. So there we go.
That's right. From the desk of a small press publisher, he says it will be Melody from Josie and the Pussycats. She has a soft heart for the situation. I think that's code. And then Joe D. McPhee reminds us, address the elephant in the room. Oh,
Yes.
give praise to Black Lightning, the only great CW superhero show.
I
The
disagree
first-
with that.
Well,
But
the first 2
it's good.
seasons, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I have not watched. I've not caught up with my television watching of some of the CW stuff, and so I'm behind on Black Lightning. But I thought the first 2 seasons it had a completely different feel, and it was very, very well told. It incorporated the daughters, which were part of DC. That I thought it did that very well. And yes, he's absolutely right. It is one of the good shows on there.
And
yes.
they canceled it, right?
I think this is its final. I think so.
Yeah.
I think this.
They canceled it, but they'll keep Batwoman on there, which there's been what 4 different lead characters at this point. I'm so tired of it.
I have so many jokes I'm not using.
I know.
Anyway.
Figure out what
And
you're
anyway,
doing.
Ted Davies Artistry says the nerdy side of Chris, his wife, is great when she gets hooked on a comic like Sabrina. Then she needs to find the Netflix or other adaptations of on the TV. Whoa!
Doing the Lord's work, Ted. Good
There
job.
you go. You're a true humanitarian and patriot. And Evil Ted, says Carl Wisman, getting his wife hooked on comics.
Yes.
And Welcome to the nerd side, Chrisser. And Black Lightning saved the day during one of the multiverse reboots on The Flash, but he really got a raw deal, says Carl Witzman. Yeah, that's true. And from this one, Small Press Publisher, yes, canceled after this season. And we are an hour and 54 minutes into the show, and Facebook has just alerted me I've got a broadcast in 5 minutes called Comic Book Spectrum number 19.
Wow. Thanks, Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Facebook. You're why I keep diverting people to YouTube. But anyway, I tell you, Northern charm and Southern efficiency. But anyway.
Hey, that represents the show really well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's kind of like us in a nutshell, so to speak. But yeah, well, anyway, see, I know Eric has got a show he's got to go to, right?
In an hour, yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, good.
We're doing Indiana Jones tonight since his 40th anniversary.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, but remember, kids, it is Oliver Queen's 80th.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I won with my Medusa.
That's great.
It was good.
And our
But I was
really good.
disgusted the Pro Edition, or the guy that runs the Pro Edition, and I didn't even get a link to get on that show.
They fear you, man. That's what it is. They're
It
scared of you.
Yes, there was nudity, but it's Medusa. It was very tasteful. It wasn't just for the heck of it.
That's true. That is true. That
It
is.
was
Eric's like, look, Nudie Magazine Day. Look what I drawed.
And when you see my Miss Grundy. Anyway, today's Art History says, great show, Fab4. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow night on Drinking with the Davies at 6 p.m. and where we're going to learn how to make mint mojitos. And Carl Wilson says, great show, guys. I have to run over to Stupid O'Clock, but good job. Thank you, sir. Please watch Stupid O'Clock at 9 p.m. Eastern. Or if you're watching on the rerun, we appreciate you too. Later, Ted
Get that
and
Wesley
Carl.
Webbit.
Yeah, really. And from this, a Small Press Publisher says, I'm here to the end. My God. Thanks for hosting the adventure. CKOEPP.com. Thank you, Cindy. And I think it's a good time to maybe wrap things up. Eric, are you seeing something there? Or?
Oh, no, I misplaced something. I wasn't sure where I put it. I was just going to show you guys something when we got off there, but I'll show you guys now, actually. So I do have my sketch cards, my custom sketch cards.
Let's get this.
That some of the backers will be getting. It was an add-on.
Ooh, yeah.
And the early bird tier got these included regardless. So yeah,
nice.
So they turned out very nice. I was very happy. I've been drawing on them already, trying to get ahead of the shipping date.
Yeah, and let's see, how many dozens do you have to?
Actually, it's not that many. I mean, there was 10 early birds, which it was included with, and I didn't know how many people would add on, but I think it was about 20 people added on of the 181. Yeah,
nice.
That's not bad. And
vinyl. How'd you like it, Clyde?
You did
nice.
your evil work. I like it. I picked this up last week or this week after you recommended it. Here's a couple that. The Shang-Chi series.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
It's going like the Brothers and Sisters. It goes straight into same creative team from that TPB that I reviewed. And they're really having a lot of fun intermixing him with a bunch of the other Marvel characters. And they are taking that whole paternal, eternal struggle and going a great new distance with it. It's one of my favorite books every month now. So it's funny. It has a real feel of like a kung fu movie. It has that kind of a vibe about it. It's both funny and adventuresome and a lot of action. So it's become one of my favorite reads. This is one that I may end up reviewing. I don't know if you guys have any of you have read Seven Swords.
Yeah.
It came out like last week, didn't it? I think
so.
Very recently I saw it in the shop. Yeah.
But it is it's a little rough. In spots, but it's a really good concept. So I kind of was waiting to see on the follow-up issues if it smooths out. It's not bad at all. It's kind of a I always think of Nicholas Tockard when I see it because it is like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen of swordsmen.
That's
all different kinds of swordsmen. So from fiction. So that might be worth checking out if you like things like The Three Musketeers and historical figures that were actual swordsmen, along with it's a mixing of real people and fictional characters that were all great swordsmen. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Cool.
Let's see. And
Like
from
Inigo Montoya.
You queued him up.
they should have him, or the Dread Pirate Wesley anyway. But
Yes.
not
There
so
we go. And the desk from the desk of the small press publisher says, "And waiting for issue number 30, 11 more before I can be a super villain again." We ought to screw. Don't listen, Joe. We ought to screw with him and have him on for the one before. That's the thought. Anyway,
I don't think John's gonna like that very much.
Yeah, we would, Joe, but we scheduled John for that day. Sorry, dude. Anyway, it'll be 45 now. But anyway, Eric, who did them, and Eric Hawkins very charitably said Comics Wellspring did the sketch cards for him. They do really good work. They really do.
That's who prints all of my books. They're great.
Yeah.
No, I mentioned earlier with the Ashcan being late by a week because they emailed me. I did not go with Comics Wellspring with them because the other company I went with was like less than half the cost of a smaller book. I don't know if it's because they don't do a lot of manga size. Might be what Comics Wellspring, but they want to charge like full price for a full size book. I'm like, hold on here, let me go this guy. I've used them for prints. Oh, okay, they'll be good.
Yeah. Well,
but otherwise, Comics Wellspring, if you're printing a comic, great. You get reward points.
Yeah.
And they're good. I love them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And 15% off if you promote that you are using them to print your comic in your campaign.
Yeah, and if you put it on if you put their little logo on your Kickstarter, you get 50% off.
Yeah, which they put out after my campaign finished.
Oh.
and they will rescind that deal just when you're going to start the campaign
limited
for
time
4,
until
right?
next issue.
But they'll bring it back 32 days later. So this is how it works. So I guess this is the time where we all say our goodnight to our audience.
Night, John Boy.
Night, John Boy. Hi, everyone. Anyway, that was easy. Gosh, why am I making it so difficult here? Anyway, let's go around the room. We'll start with Clyde Hall and go clockwise, and then we'll close out the show and then have our usual folderol afterwards. So, which we won't let any of you see because there are courts. Anyway, Clyde, take us out. How can people keep up with you?
Well, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. A tale I call Pulp Reality 1 and 2. Stormgate Press. You can find it on their site, www.stormgatepress.com, or on Amazon. I have short stories with my character, B-Man, in each one of these. So be sure to pick that up. And also, you can follow me on Facebook under Clyde Hall, or my site on Facebook is at author Clyde Hall and Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. So if you look that up, you will find me also. And we do a little daily posting of good vibes. We try to do a good story every day to start the day off right. So be happy to see people give me a friend request or to join that site and be part of our Radiating Positive Vibes. Gentlemen.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Clyde Hall. And now, Eric S. Hawkins, how can people keep up with you?
Well, I'm Eric S. Hawkins, the creative designer for the World of Oz, and you catch me on Twitter, you catch me on Facebook, Instagram. Occasionally, I really don't post as much out there as I should, but every time I do, I get lots of great feedback. But if you were a backer of the Zombie World of Oz, look at all these trading cards. Look.
Ooh.
Trading cards coming your way.
Poker chip.
Coasters. Look, these even have bios on the back. Look.
Ooh.
And if you recognize the design, there was a Jim Lee X-Men set that came out in the 90s. And I borrowed that design.
It's an homage.
I ripped it off. I copied it and took the X's out and put ZWO on there. But no, you can reach me on all those social media sites. If you have any questions, just contact me. I'm happy to chat up with anyone. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And now Brian Rodman.
And Kat.
Yeah, you. Yeah, he's John's cat. Okay, Cat, get out of the way, Brian. Cat, how's it
All right,
going?
Cat.
Know your role.
Help me! I hate Beasley so much, and I wish she would go back to hell, which clearly she is from.
That's enough out of you. I'm Brian Rodman, author illustrator of the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel, as well as the post-apocalyptic action comedy The Nebulizer. You can find all of the back catalog of Memoirs of an Angel right now on brianrodman.com. You can also go there and find me on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes Twitter. Mostly that's a dumpster fire. So, but brianrodman.com is the best place to go. Also, go to YouTube and check out the Dastardly Dingoes podcast. It's the show about all things nerdy. We are about to ramp up the beginning of the beginning of season 4. And we are going to have a special surprise. We may or may not be adding a 4th co-host.
Ooh, ah.
Uh-oh.
Stay tuned.
Oh, my stars are goddess.
Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you all, gentlemen. And thank you to everyone who has commented tonight and watched. We're going to put you, the usual thing here. I will take over the screen. Yeah, really. Yeah. Muting him first before anything else. Anyway, thank you guys for being part of Comic Book Spectrum time. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and thank you whether you're watching live or on the rerun. We appreciate you all. And last words, dang, I miss all the stuff and things. Well, hello, everybody. Phil Man X, we are here. Phil, check him out at CromCon because he's amazing. And Cindy Cap, say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Thank you for being here. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Much appreciated. And we are here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. And as always, folks, we have people to thank. For one, we've got to thank our usual sponsor, who is unusually talented, and that is Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Thank you very much. And also, like I said, please check out Plasma Fire Graphics. They do incredible graphics, incredible trailers, and they're affordable. You'll love it working with Jeffrey Hayes. Go to plasmafiregraphics.com. Also, check out their Facebook page, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. That he's done the latest cover for me. My latest book from Ben Books, Snow Ambition, available now from Amazon. It's only 99 cents. Quick read crime drama. You will dig it, I promise you. Also, we want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. 7 days a week of entertainment and information, with more stuff coming your way. Wednesday, July 14th. Check out The Truth Mongers with Ted Davies and Glenn B. Fleming. Really looking forward to that, and more stuff coming your way. So check out the schedule. Don't forget, after the show is Joe Dog McKeel and the Skunk Rocker and a whole bunch of other great, intelligent people on Stupid O'Clock. And stay tuned also after that for the Stupid After Show. It's awesome stuff. And let's see, is there anyone else? Also, Patreon. Don't forget Patreon. It's a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly, and also check out these people on this list, because many of them have Patreons of their own. But if you want to see what I offer for your monthly subscription, check me out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. They help keep us on the air, and we are greatly appreciative. I'm Brian K. Morris, writer, publisher. I do all that stuff, and I'm also the head poobah of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, I'm told. Anyway, somebody's got to take the blame. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Much appreciated. We hope you'll share this show. If you enjoyed any part of it, give it a like. If you're on Facebook, also like the page you're watching it on. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give this a thumbs up. It helps us so much with the algorithms. And all I can say then is thank you for being here. We will be back 1 week from tonight with more comic book reviews, more folderol, and more conversation about the medium we love so much. So Thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow morning on Nevermind the Furthermore at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And so, as always, folks, be sure that you stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great evening and keep reading those funny books.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.